5 years ago, I'd sworn to erase him. Yet the moment the elevator doors slid open, the air shifted, and I knew. I didn't have to turn around to recognize that scent. It was faint at first, drifting through the office like memory itself. Crisp cedar, faint smoke, the kind of scent that once lingered on my skin long after he was gone. No one else could carry that scent. No one else ever had. Still hiding by windows, Aki? My fingers froze on the edge of the desk. That voice, deep, quiet, and infuriatingly calm, pulled at every nerve in my body. I turned slowly, and there he was, Haruya Saito, the alpha I once believed the universe created for me, and the man I had walked away from without looking back. He stood in the doorway of my office like he owned the air itself. His black coat was dusted with stray autumn leaves. His hair, darker than I remembered, fell slightly over his eyes. Time had carved strength into him, but his presence still carried the same quiet gravity, the same invisible pull that had once made it impossible for me to breathe. "You," I whispered before I could stop myself. "Me," he replied simply, stepping forward. "You didn't expect me, did you?" My heart stuttered. Why would I? "Because fate likes to watch us suffer," he said with a faint smirk, though it didn't reach his eyes. His gaze swept over the office, sterile white, too neat, too empty. Then it returned to me, and the faintest trace of something, hurt, maybe, crossed his face before disappearing. "You work here now," he said, tone unreadable. "I do. You always wanted quiet jobs," he murmured. "Ones that didn't require you to talk much. Guess some things never change." He said it so casually that anyone else might have missed the sharpness under the words. But I heard it. I always did. "What are you doing here, Haruya?" "Starting over." He slipped one hand into his pocket. "They made me head of this division 2 weeks ago. I didn't realize I'd be sharing it with a ghost." His eyes locked with mine. I hated that even now, after everything, they still had the power to freeze me in place. "I'm not a ghost," I said quietly. "No." He took a step closer. "Then why do you look like one?" The air between us thickened. The years vanished. Suddenly I was 23 again, standing in the half-light of his apartment, the scent of cedar smoke in my lungs, his heartbeat under my palm. I swallowed hard. "You should leave. You really think it's that easy?" His voice was a low hum, steady, dangerous. "I searched for years, Aki. You vanished. No calls, no messages, not even a note. You didn't need one. You think disappearing without a word was mercy?" He took another step forward. "You think you can break me and call it kindness?" The old fire in his tone made something inside me tremble. "Don't," I whispered. "Don't what?" "Remind you of what you did. Remind me of what I had to do." He laughed, but it was soft and bitter. "You're still good at twisting words." The breeze outside stirred more leaves past the window, scattering gold light across the floor. The city felt far away, distant, almost unreal. "You don't belong here," he said finally. "Neither do you." "I do now," he said. "And whether you like it or not, we'll be working together." My chest tightened. "Who approved that?" "Your boss." "Who answers to me?" I met his eyes then, sharp, calm, beautiful. The kind of gaze that saw through everything. "You knew I work here." "I did," he admitted softly. "And I came anyway." I took a step back. "Why?" He tilted his head slightly, the faintest smile ghosting across his lips. "Because I'm tired of pretending I stopped caring." The words caught me off guard. My pulse jumped. I wanted to speak, to tell him to leave, to stop this, but he moved closer before I could. 5 years, he said quietly. 5 years, and I still remember the way you looked when you slept. The way you smelled when you were scared. Stop! The way you said my name, like it hurt. I looked away, but his hand found my chin, tilting my face up just slightly. His touch was cold from the autumn wind, but the warmth beneath it burned. "You still shake when I'm close," he murmured. "That's not fear." He smiled faintly. "No, it's memory." I could feel my composure fracturing. "You hate me," I said softly. "I told myself I did," he said, thumb brushing lightly along my jaw. "Every night, I tried to believe it. And it never worked." He leaned closer, and the world seemed to narrow. Just his breath, his eyes, the faint hum of the air conditioning. "You should leave," I whispered again. If I walk away now, I'll never come back, he said. Do you want that? My heart ached. Yes. He exhaled a shaky laugh. Liar. The silence that followed was unbearable. Outside, the trees along the boulevard shed their last leaves, the sky folding into orange dusk. And then, without warning, he reached for me. It wasn't violent. It wasn't even deliberate. It was instinct. The way his hand caught my wrist, his fingers trembling, his voice breaking just slightly. You disappeared, Aki, he said, and I let you. But every autumn since then, I've wondered where you were. My throat closed. You shouldn't have wondered, I said. I had to. You were my world. He took one more step, close enough that I could feel the steady beat of his heart. I hate you, he whispered, so softly it almost wasn't real. I hate what you did. Then hate me quietly. His breath trembled as he leaned closer. I don't think I know how. And before I could speak again, his lips brushed mine. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't cruel. It was desperate, like something breaking, like years of anger collapsing into one impossible second. My back hit the edge of the desk. His hand slid to my shoulder, anchoring me in place. The taste of him was both memory and ache. When he pulled away, our foreheads stayed touching. That, he whispered, voice raw, is what hate feels like. I wanted to say something, anything, but no words came. He stepped back slowly, the warmth of him fading with each inch between us. His hands dropped to his sides. The mask returned. We have a meeting at 9 tomorrow, he said quietly. Don't be late. He turned and walked out. The door closed with a soft click, leaving only silence and the faint rustle of leaves against the window. I stood there, unmoving, my heartbeat loud in my ears. Outside, the city lights blinked to life, reflected in the glass like distant fires. Inside, I pressed a trembling hand to my lips. 5 years, and one kiss was all it took to unravel everything I'd built. The wind outside shifted, scattering gold and crimson leaves across the street below. I had thought autumn was a season of endings. But tonight, it felt like something was beginning again. The air in my apartment that night felt heavy, thicker somehow, like it carried the scent of him even though he was long gone. I hadn't realized I'd been holding my breath until I finally sat down, my pulse still uneven. 5 years, and the first thing he'd done after finding me was kiss me. My reflection stared back from the window, a tired man with eyes too full of the past. Outside, the wind scattered another wave of autumn leaves across the quiet street, gold spinning under the streetlights. I thought I had done while burying the past. But Haruya had always been good at digging up things that were meant to stay hidden. A soft knock interrupted my thoughts. I turned toward the door, but before I could move, a small voice came from behind it. Papa, are you awake? I froze. The voice was gentle, sleepy, and familiar in a way that still hurts sometimes. I walked to the door and opened it. My son, Ren, stood there, hair messy from bed, holding a small stuffed fox. He blinked up at me, eyes the same shade of dark amber as. No, I pushed the thought away. You should be sleeping, I said softly. I had a bad dream, he murmured, rubbing his eyes. I sighed, kneeling to his level. Do you want to tell me about it? I dreamed someone was calling your name, he said. It sounded angry. My chest tightened. It's just a dream, Ren. But it felt real. I brushed his hair back. Nothing can hurt us here. I promise. He smiled faintly, leaning against me. His small hand gripped mine, warm and fragile. I carried him back to his bed, tucking him in beneath the soft gray blanket. When his breathing steadied, I stayed for a moment, watching his peaceful face. He didn't know. He couldn't know. Not yet. The next morning, the city was covered in a thin veil of mist. The golden trees outside the office building glistened with dew. I walked quickly, my coat collar turned up, trying to ignore the quiet tremor of nerves in my stomach. Inside, everything looked the same as yesterday, except the air felt different. He was here. The elevator doors opened, and there he stood, already waiting, a coffee cup in one hand and that unreadable calm on his face. His tie was loose again, the second button of his shirt undone, as if rules didn't apply to him anymore. You're late, he said quietly. only by a minute. I noticed. We walked down the hallway together in silence, the click of our shoes echoing off the marble floor. When we entered the conference room, the others were already seated. Haruya nodded to them. All business now, his voice steady and composed. If anyone noticed the tension between us, they were too polite to say so. He didn't look at me again, not until the meeting ended. When the last person left, he stayed by the window, arms crossed. "Aki," he said without turning, "you're still terrible at lying." My pulse jumped. "What do you mean? You flinch every time I walk in. Every word you speak is rehearsed." He turned then, eyes steady. "What are you hiding?" I laughed softly, but it came out hollow. "You really haven't changed. Neither have you. Still running. Sometimes running is the only way to survive." He walked closer, slow, measured steps that made my heart beat louder than I wanted it to be. "Survive what, Aki?" he asked quietly. "Me?" His eyes softened, just for a moment, and the old ache came rushing back. The years between us dissolved into that same unbearable gravity, pulling me toward him. But then his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned, and his expression changed, sharper, colder. "Strange," he murmured. "My secretary said someone called asking for you. A child." My blood ran cold. "A what?" "A little boy," he said. He sounded polite. "He said he was your son." For a moment, the room tilted. My breath caught somewhere between disbelief and dread. "He must have dialed by mistake," I said quickly. "He called my office number, Aki." The silence that followed was unbearable. Haruya's gaze hardened. "You have a child? It's complicated." He laughed once, short, disbelieving. "Complicated? You vanished for 5 years, and now I find out you have a child." "Please," I said quietly. "Not here." But it was too late. His control cracked. "Whose is he?" he demanded. I couldn't answer. My throat refused to move. "You can't even lie properly," he said. "You think I don't see it?" His voice, "He sounds like you." He stepped closer until the distance between us vanished. His hand came down hard on the desk beside me, the sound echoing like thunder. "Tell me, Aki," he whispered. "Is he mine?" The room fell silent except for the faint hum of the city outside. My pulse was shaking through my fingertips. I forced myself to look up at him. His eyes, dark, furious, trembling, held too many memories. "You don't want the answer," I said finally. "I need the answer." And there it was, no longer the voice of a man in control, but of someone afraid to hope. I swallowed hard. "Yes." The word fell between us like glass breaking. He went still, completely still. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he said, "You hid my son from me. You wouldn't have understood," I said. "Try me." "You were drowning in your world, Haruya. Power, work, expectations, everything that came with being an alpha. I was terrified he'd become another secret you had to protect." "He's not a secret," he shouted, voice raw. "He's mine." The sound broke something inside me. He turned away, gripping the edge of the desk, breathing hard. His shoulders trembled. For the first time, Haruya Saito, the man who never lost control, looked utterly, painfully human. 5 years, he whispered. "You took 5 years from me." I took a hesitant step forward. I thought it was for the best. "For who?" He turned back, eyes red. "For you." My lips trembled. "For him." The air hung heavy between us. Outside, the wind swept more leaves past the windows, red and gold against the fading sky. Finally, he exhaled, a shudder breaking through his composure. "I want to see him. He doesn't know who you are." "Then tell him," he said. "Tell him his father is alive." "It's not that simple." "It never is with you," he said quietly. "But I'll wait." His voice softened then, just a little, like the man I used to know. "I don't hate you, Aki," he said. "I tried to. Every day. But I can't." I looked away, my vision blurring. "You should," I whispered. He shook his head slowly. "No, I think I just forgot how." And with that, he left. No anger this time. No storm. Just quiet footsteps fading into the hallway. I stood there long after he was gone, my heart aching with everything unsaid. Outside, the last light of autumn faded behind the glass, and in that reflection, I saw what I had feared most. A man standing in a room full of ghosts, still in love with one of them. The next morning, I didn't open the curtains. The light outside felt too sharp, too revealing. Ren's laughter floated faintly from the living room, mingling with the sound of the kettle whistling. For a moment, that sound was my only anchor, ordinary domestic safe. Until the doorbell rang. My stomach tightened. No one ever came this early. When I opened the door, the cold air slipped in first, carrying with it the faint scent of rain-soaked leaves. And standing there, hands in his pockets, was Haruya. He didn't say anything at first. His eyes searched mine, not with anger this time, but with something heavier. "You said you'd tell him," he said quietly. I said I would try. "Then try now." Before I could answer, a small voice called out behind me. "Papa? Who's that?" Ren peeked out from behind the couch, his toy fox clutched against his chest. His eyes flicked from me to Haruya, curiosity written all over his face. Haruya's breath caught, just slightly but enough. I saw it. Ren stepped closer. "Papa." I knelt beside him. My throat felt tight. "Run," I whispered. "This is someone I used to know. Someone very important." Haruya crouched down too, slowly, as though he were afraid to break the air between them. "Hey," he said softly, voice trembling despite himself. "You must be Run." Ren nodded shyly. "How do you know my name?" Haruya smiled faintly. "Your dad told me once. A long time ago." Ren tilted his head. "You look like Papa." The silence that followed was unbearable. My heart hammered so loudly I was sure both of them could hear it. Haruya looked up at me, not accusingly now, but with something that looked too much like forgiveness. He blinked once hard before whispering, "May I?" I nodded. He reached out, hesitated, then gently placed his hand on Ren's shoulder. "You like foxes?" Ren's face brightened. "Yeah, they're smart. Papa says they don't like being caught." Haruya's expression flickered, a quick flash of pain and pride all at once. "Your papa's right," he said softly. "Foxes are clever. They run fast, but they always find their way home." Ren smiled. "Do you like them too?" "More than you can imagine," Haruya murmured. For a few moments, the three of us just stayed like that, the quiet hum of the apartment wrapping around us like the last warmth of autumn. Then Ren yawned, rubbing his eyes. "Papa, can he come again?" I hesitated. Haruya's gaze met mine. Not a demand this time, but a question. I swallowed hard. "Maybe," I said. Ren nodded, satisfied, and ran off toward his room. When the door clicked shut behind him, silence filled the space he left behind. Haruya exhaled slowly. "He's perfect," he said. "Everything I didn't know I wanted. He's my whole world," I whispered. "He's ours," Haruya corrected gently. The word hit me like a pulse. Ours. A word that once meant together, now sounding like both a promise and a wound. "You have every right to hate me," I said quietly. "I did," he admitted. "But seeing him, I can't. Not anymore." He looked around the small apartment, then back at me. "Let me be in his life. However you want. I don't care if I start as a stranger or a friend. Just don't shut me out again." The weight of his voice, the rawness of it, cracked something deep inside me. "I was trying to protect him," I said. "Then protect him with me," Haruya replied. "Not from me." I stared at him, the man I once loved, the man I never truly stopped loving. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel fear. Just exhaustion and a strange, trembling relief. Outside, the wind changed. The leaves that had burned gold for weeks were now duller, fragile, ready to fall. "Autumn's ending," I said quietly. "Then let it," Haruya said. "Maybe it's time something new began." He reached for my hand, slow, uncertain, and I didn't pull away. His fingers were cold, but the warmth beneath them was real. "You're late," I murmured, echoing the words he once said to me. "Only by 5 years," he said, smiling faintly. We both laughed then, not because it was funny, but because it hurt less than crying. And when he finally left, promising to come back tomorrow, the world outside my window no longer looked so gray. The first snow of the season began to fall, quiet, hesitant, like forgiveness itself. And for the first time, I let it.